Hello, and welcome to Sunspiration. My name is Victor Tarfa, and today is Sunday. So Victor Tarfa on a Sunday, that brings you Sunspiration. Super excited every Sunday because when I go into the Holy Word, that is the Bible, and I believe that is a manual for every human being. And I look in there and I find some inspiration to fire you up for the week. In this powerful month of May, I've been talking about the return. I believe there's power in turning back and returning somewhere, because sometimes the place might actually be where your destiny is. And I believe it's such a powerful topic. And I was digging in and thinking, what should I speak about today? I've got a special one next Sunday, but I just thought, this Sunday, what should I talk about? I've spoken about Moses returning to Egypt to go and rescue the people. And I was thinking, I need to look at return from a different perspective today. You might be wondering, what perspective are you going to come up with now, Victor? After all, returning just means turning your back, going back somewhere. But no. When you're about to fire a bow, you hold it in your hand and you pull it back. Then you release it. Then it goes far. The farther back you pull it, the more further off it goes. Same applies to a catapult. When we're kids, we used to get a stick that was in a V shape, and then we tie elastic to it and we pull it. The further back you get it, the further forward it actually goes. There are times in which you're about to step out to do something, but you might just need to take a short step back before you go forward again. How? Who am I talking about today? Today I'm looking at the story of Elisha. We all know the great story of Elijah in the Bible. And Elijah called Elisha. And sometimes I like to actually go into the word itself and read it. And this is one of the times in which I just love to read that part because I think it's absolutely powerful. In 1 Kings 19, from verse 19, it says the call of Elisha. So Elijah went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driving 12 pair. Elijah went up to him and threw his cloak around him. Elisha then left his oxen and ran after Elijah. "Let me kiss my father and mother goodbye," he said, and then I will come with you." "Go back," Elijah replied. "What have I done to you?" So Elijah left him and went back. So Elisha left him and went back. Elisha left him and returned. He took his yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. He burned the plowing equipment to cook the meat and gave it to the people. And they ate. Then he set out to follow Elijah and become his attendant. Now, that's straight from the manual, the Holy Bible. I actually love that passage because Elijah called Elisha, and the first thing Elisha did was he went back. Let me go and say goodbye before we actually go. And there's three things I can take away from this to start with. Number one, he was called. And when you get called, you're getting called is like that idea that drops in your mind. Or maybe that realization, I don't like where my life is. I want to make things better. Or sometimes maybe you've actually hit rock bottom. Because in life sometimes we can have a chance to have that realization, or we can wait till we hit rock bottom before we decide that we want to make that change. Secondly, he asked to go back. So he got the realization, he decided, let me go back and say goodbye. And when he went back, he killed his oxen, he burned the plow, cooked it all, and gave it to his people to eat. So when he went back, he made sure he destroyed all the ties he had, so he could never look back again. As I've said, there are times in which you will need to burn the bridges. But bear in mind, not every time. But in this occasion, he chose to destroy and burn everything, so he never actually goes back to where he came from. And after doing that, he left everything and followed Elijah. I was watching a video from a great guy called Simon Sinek, the author of the book Start With Why, which is a very powerful book I recommend to everyone. And Simon Sinek was talking about ghosting. You know, there are times in which people just cut off all of a sudden. And he was saying the importance of telling people the reason why you cut off from them. He said that's so important because it affects the people when you don't tell them why. Because you leave them wondering, what have I done to this person? And so when I'm looking at return today, I'm looking in the place of where Elijah called Elisha. And if I put it in that context too, if Elisha had just disappeared with Elijah, people might be wondering, where is this guy? We don't know where this guy is. What happened to him? And there are times in which we need to cut off from some people. But from what Simon Sinek was saying, it's important to return to them and tell them why, and not just to disappear. And when we do the right things sometimes by telling them why, there are 3 things I came up with, which I think will really, really help you. And the first one is, when you say goodbye, you can have that peace. Just imagine when you drop off a WhatsApp group without saying the reason why you left the group. Or maybe even a Zoom call. And then suddenly people start following you up and start asking, oh, what happened? What have we done wrong? Why did you leave? And I'm sure all of us will agree that WhatsApp needs to come up with an idea. Maybe somebody watching the WhatsApp here can tell them that you can leave a group silently without anyone knowing. But once you leave, it shows there, Victor left. And then suddenly you start getting calls and questions about what happened and why did you go. So just for that piece of people not to chase you, maybe just type a message in there and say, guys, I don't think this group serves me anymore. Or maybe in a nicer way and just say, guys, I'm working on some other things now. I might need to leave this group for now. And you just leave. At least they can see a reason there. And hopefully nobody will chase you. Secondly, they might even bless you. If you're leaving a town, you're moving away, you say goodbye to people, they might even say, you know what, God bless you. Off you go. But when you just disappear like that, he might give that bad energy. What's he feeling like? What's he doing? What does he think he is? He just kept quiet and doesn't talk to us anymore now. And they might see you later on when you become a changed person, when you've grown, and maybe even have a lot more money in your pocket. But because you never said goodbye at that time, they will see you as being arrogant. And so you start getting that bad energy coming towards you. And we know how horrible it is when you have that bad energy. So at least for the sake of peace, for the sake of maintaining friendships from a distance, you can just say goodbye. And you never know. They could give you a blessing. They could even wish you well. And thirdly, it might even inspire them. Because when you're leaving, people might say to you, oh, where are you going to? What are you going off to go and do? And when you tell them the story, or even you say, what business are you going to go and start? You get talking about it with them and you'll be surprised. Some might be willing to follow you. Some might get inspired to say, you know what? You're doing this. I want to do it you too. And that's why it's important to have that conversation. Just like when Elisha caught that vision. Just like when Elijah called in. He said, hang on a second. I need to return and say goodbye. I need to return and get rid of some things that could possibly be holding me down in the future. Sometimes it might even, as I said, you might have to return to say I'm sorry to somebody before you leave. And that way, the grudge doesn't stay going on over the years. So I want to encourage you today. Where are you stepping out to and where are you trying to move on to? Who do you need to have that conversation with to say, goodbye, I'm going off. I'm moving on to another level. I'm doing something else in my life. Because you just don't know. They might be a blessing to you. You might inspire them. And you will definitely have that peace of mind because you separated from everybody on a good note. So stay blessed. I love you all.